Osiyo, it's how we say hello in Cherokee. I'm your host, Jennifer Lauren, at Sequoia's Cabin Museum in Sallisaw, Oklahoma, where you can learn about Sequoia, the creator of the Cherokee syllabary. This site is a testament to the power of the Cherokee written word. As an author and artist, Karen Coody Cooper's work has one common denominator: a love for Cherokee history. Karen delights in uncovering obscure elements of our people's past. This fuels one of her greatest endeavors, revitalizing Cherokee Wampum.
I think knowing the history strengthens our wanting to succeed, and whether it's through crafts or however a person finds a way to have their life be successful is something that Cherokees, I think, do a lot of. There's so many talented people in our nation, and so much that we've done and will do and can do. I feel I belong to a strong group of people, and that strengthens me too. I'm Karen Coody Cooper. I was born Karen Corliss Rollins, so Karen Coody Cooper is my author's name. I write books. I worked in museums. I am a finger weaver and a wampum maker. Today, I'm in Tahlequah, Oklahoma, and happy to be home. I had grown up in Collinsville and then married and moved to Connecticut. I realized there was a museum being built in the town that we lived in. It was focused on American Indian archaeology. And so I took a job there while I was still finishing my college work. Soon after I got my degree, then I was hired as an educator there. I started finger weaving simply because working at the museum, it was helpful to have some craft that I could show and teach to people. I took up finger weaving. It took me a while to figure out how to do it too. I was not a born craftsperson. It's something I have to work pretty hard at. It's tedious work. It really helps you respect your ancestors when you know that they might make a whole garment doing that kind of work. As a child, I wanted to be a writer. When I became an adult, I figured I would write fiction and poetry, but it's pretty hard to make a living at that. So I drifted to history. We are survivors, and that's what amazed me, everything that we went through in past generations. It took me a while to realize that I could write books. I could write for newsletters for the museums, and that gave me confidence. I had worked for newspapers as a reporter, so that gave me some confidence. But a book is kind of daunting. That's a big thing. So it kind of started out with when I went back to school to get my master's. So my thesis, I wrote about how museums had treated American Indian people, because I was working in a museum and I often had to argue with my bosses about things that they were displaying or saying that was not appropriate, because museums need to understand that we are unique peoples and we have our ways of doing things and things that we're sensitive about and things that we want people to change their point of view about. And so that was the book that I wrote. And then came back to Oklahoma. Once I got here to Tahlequah 15 or so years ago, I was discovering stories that I felt hadn't been written. One was about wampum, Cherokee wampum. So I quickly wrote a little book about that, self-published it. And I like to have illustrations for things, and I didn't have really great photos of wampum. So I told my husband, I said, "Can you teach me how to do beadwork?" Because I had no idea how to do it. It always seemed very tedious, and with little round beads rolling all around, it'd drive me crazy. So he made me a loom. He had to teach me the whole process, and I had to make every mistake possible for me to really understand how this all works. So now I can just pretty quickly do a wampum belt. This drawing is my map. What I'm wanting to portray are the flames that the bird is coming in, and we've only got 2 colors to work with, dark and light. So the flame is the lighter, and the bird itself are the darker patterns. It's kind of a tricky craft when you're trying to create a fluid image. It's a craft that does have challenges with it, that you figure out what works best for your personality. So wampum, to me, it was just very important to recognize it as a part of our culture. So what I do with it mostly is make contemporary art. I'm not trying to make anything that would be considered sacred or a document of any kind. I love the challenge of the beads being cylinder. It's much harder to create an image because you don't have that fluidity with those round beads smoothing the angles, so things look a little choppy. But I love fighting my way through that to make an image. Okay, I'm driving to the Cherokee Phoenix, and I'm going to give them a piece of wampum artwork because I appreciate what they do. And it's the Cherokee Phoenix newspaper. I'm here to give you a gift to my favorite newspaper.
All right.
It's the Phoenix.
That is beautiful. That is awesome. Thank you so much.
I hope you enjoy it. That'll brighten up your office.
That is beautiful.
He's a happy bird.
That's awesome. This is beautiful. Thank you so much. It's beautiful.
Thank you. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
You guys are so important.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
A woman who publishes a magazine, and I offered to write a piece about wampum and have the pictures of the wampum, and she says, Cherokee's never made wampum. And I'm trying to get them to persuade her to pay attention to the history record that says we did wampum. And I'm finding ever more evidence. After I wrote the book, I've found more evidence of our actions in wampum. And the first time I had discovered anything was I'd lived in Maryland, and I had visited a place called Fort Frederick in Maryland. And then later I found that a Cherokee chief had gone there during the French and Indian War. He brought 50 warriors and he wanted to join in the fight. And so he had brought a woman with him in that group. I'm thinking she was the wampum maker because it was considered a woman's work. And so she must have been up all night because he would talk to the head of the fort, and then he would have her make a belt that would symbolize some response to what the fort manager was saying. I think it's important to carry on any of those heritage things that we've done and put it back into our people of doing it. And of course, now today it would be appropriate for men or women to do it. So I hope to see somebody doing it. Right now, I'm the only one that I know of. I do feel it is a connective kind of feeling when you're writing the history or you're doing the crafts. It's bonding feeling that I'm doing something that my ancestors did. I'm doing something they would be proud of, and that this will help move it forward to future generations too by doing it now.